Hi everyone, and welcome to the presentation of Niche, an entertainment game used to explain genetics in class. So this story actually starts 5 years earlier, when I was still a teenager and I couldn't figure out if I want to study biology or game design. It was a very tough decision for me, but in the end, game design won the race, but it was a very close call. And so I went to the ZGK, the Zurich University of the Arts, to study game design and made various projects of every genre you can imagine. But something was still missing somehow. It was fun to make games, but I kind of couldn't find a topic which I wanted to focus on. And so I decided that for my final thesis in the bachelor, I would make a game about genetics. So I came back to my original love of biology, and my favorite topics always have been evolution and genetics. And so I decided to specify that a bit more and make a game about population genetics, where the 5 game mechanics in the game are also the 5 factors that are involved in population genetics. So to put this easily, I imagined the game to be like this. I would give each of you an animal species that you could start off with right now, and then I would let you play for an hour or so, and after I come back, you would have evolved into this, you would have evolved into this, you into this, and you into this, because you all decided to spread into all kind of different directions, go into the desert, or decide to live in the water, eat meat or eat plants, and so on and so on. So what I did first is play all the evolution games that have ever been made. The big productions, some of you may know, for example, Spore. A lot of these games do have the topic of evolution, but they don't really use mechanics that are involved in science. So there's no real breeding system in Spore with dominant and recessive genes or something. And there are lots of small games made by small developers that often feature different kinds of genetic aspects, but often these projects are really small and they don't go into a big production. So I decided, let's try, maybe I can make a game where evolution is the main mechanic and genetics are the real main mechanic, and it's also a bit of a bigger game that has a few hours of gameplay. So I had a lot of reading to catch up to. Of course, I'm not a biologist. I don't have an education in genetics or anything. So I had to pick up a lot of books and read through all of them in order to at least understand a bit what is going on there. Next step was to make various concepts of how these mechanics that are written in these books could be implemented in a game. Something we really love to do at the Zurich University of the Arts is paper prototyping. You basically craft your whole game out of little paper pieces, and it's surprising that the game in its current state is really still very close to this first version that was made out of paper. Then I made various prototypes, and this is the outcome, what it looked like after the bachelor. And then a team formed around it because other people were also convinced that it's a good idea. And so we kept working on the game, and this is what it currently looks like. Thanks to the support of our school and also thanks to the Pro Helvetia, we were able to travel to a lot of places all around the world, and we went to America, South Africa, India, everywhere in Europe. And the game also managed to get quite a few nominations. But this is always in the context of an entertainment game. So these were not specific conferences or anything that are related to educational, but really purely on the entertainment game track. The game was originally made, or whenever I was working on the game, I thought of making it as fun as possible for myself when I was 12. So the target group was 12-year-old girls, you could say. You saw the graphics are also quite a bit cute. But I was very happy during this whole presentations and traveling that we did is that we found that our target audience is actually a lot bigger. So we really had everyone playing the game, from small girls to grown men, and they all had a lot of fun with it. And early in the process, we started setting up a group where people could assemble and talk about the game, even if it's not released yet, share their opinions, give us feedback. And a lot of science-interested people, not just normal players, but science-interested people started to gather in this group. There's everything from bee to dog breeders in there. And whenever we release a new version, they give us feedback on the scientific side of things. And we also got in contact with quite a few teachers who found out about the game and then started to just pick up these really early builds of the game and play it with their class and told us which kind of graphs they would like to see so that students could also evaluate what is actually happening in the game. So that has been a very strong influence too. We actually got so caught up in the whole genetics, biology thing that we founded a collective for game developers who are making games about biology and nature. A lot of these games are also scientifically based, so they have some kind of relationship to a real life science. For example, the one on the top left is a simulation of an anthill where you basically take on the role of the queen and decide what kind of offspring you want to give birth to and so on. So this has been a great collection of people to get in touch with each other and share inputs on their projects from a science and from an entertainment side. Then, now the bachelor has passed and we decided to keep on working on the project, so we needed some money. And we did a Kickstarter for it. And this showed us again that if our game would have been purely entertaining, so no relation to any real-life topic, it would have been much harder for us to reach this amount of money that we can now work with, because we had a lot of science sites and other scientists that started to talk about the game, pick it up, and share it in their communities. That was a big help. We are now heading towards Steam Early Access, which is a special service. You maybe know Steam, which is a big distribution platform for digital games. And you can, in this program, in this Steam thing, you can make your game early access, which means you give it to people even if it's not finished. And then they can, together with you, influence in what direction it goes. And we think for us, with all the valuable input from the science community, this is the way we want to go. And it's planned to release in about a month. What will come next is also a tablet port, because we saw that a lot of people want to try the game on tablets, children especially. If we want to make it accessible to them, tablets is a great way. And we also want to make an educational version, but important to see is that an educational version for us is not taking the game that is fun, that is an entertainment game, and turn it into something where you learn, but we want to just add more information. So how does the whole genetics thing work? Maybe with additional videos and explanations that you can access inside the game, but we won't change the main game as it is at all. So you could also put those informations into the entertainment version. That will work as well. So what this project has taught me, or has convinced me, is that maybe there is not such a big line or such a big divide between educational and entertainment games as we thought. And at least for me, and I hope for you, it is no line at all. Thank you.
So thank you very much for this nice presentation. Maybe two logistic announcements. So for the translation headset, you have two channels. You have to choose the right one for the good translation. And please, when you ask questions, speak into the microphone in order that the translator can hear the question. It was an announcement from the regie. So we have time for one or two questions about the current presentation. No?
You can also ask in French. I will try to understand.
Ah, oui, en français aussi. I would have a question.
Okay.
Because you are talking about genetics and evolution, and is there any cultural or religious barrier around evolution, creation? No? You
Yeah.
didn't face this?
When we were traveling to America, there are sometimes a few moments where people are not that into the topic. But there are also a lot of organizations in America that are actually fighting so
Yes.
that people understand that this is actually a science. And so you gain a lot of help from them, which is nice too. Other than that, outside America, never.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I think you have also our support here. Yeah. Just the microphone. It is a must. We don't.
En français, avez-vous eu des résistances des enseignants par rapport à cette nouvelle approche éducationnelle? If the teachers are not refractors.
Sorry, the last word?
Refractors.
So they don't accept.
Yes.
No,
They
not
reject.
at all. Actually, we so far we only worked with the people who actively approached us. So they were very open to actually try out new things. We have some maybe deals with publishers that are releasing games. For example, they released an educational version of Minecraft. You maybe have heard of that, or Kerbal Space Adventures. And they want to take the game and bring it to schools, so we wouldn't have to actually approach schools. They would do that for us. But so far, everyone has been quite open.
So, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
presentation. Alors, on change de contexte et de cadre, puis on passe à la deuxième présentation qui a à faire avec les crimes et la police. Alors, la présentation est intitulée From Serious Game for Crime Scene Coordination to a Reflection about the Roles of Images in Police Activity, présentée par M. Olivier Ondlément de l'Université de Lausanne. À vous la parole.
I think it's easier if I switch to French. Maybe not for you, but for me. It will be easier to talk about my subject in French. Avant toute chose, je voulais juste en petit aparté remercier déjà le NIF d'avoir mis en place ce symposium. Je pense que c'est une initiative assez intéressante qu'on ne retrouve pas forcément, d'essayer de mettre ensemble l'industrie du cinéma et plutôt le festival avec ce genre de discussion, de panel de discussion. Et remercier aussi Stéphane Gabron d'avoir proposé de venir. Je suis effectivement un petit peu en dehors du monde du jeu.